Hello, this is Michael, technical engineer at h2x. I'm going to show you how you can use our software to do pipe sizing and pump sizing calculations. To introduce you to h2x, essentially you can set a incoming flow source of a given static and residual pressure at a set height, and then you can draw pipework horizontally from that point by doing a left click, and then you can drag your mouse along to essentially set the length. Every time you do another left click, you can change direction, and you can also change height by typing in H. So if we go from 0 meters up to 1 meter, there is a change in height there, and there will be an associated head loss when we come to do our sizing calculations and pump sizing calculations, pipe and pump sizing calculations, that is. To associate load to this system, what we can do is we can go to our nodes menu where we can pick up a fixture node or a continuous flow node. The fixture node will allow you to set a certain number of fixture units, which will then be diversified to a peak flow rate requirement based on a methodology chosen in the system settings. So you can see the peak flow rate calculation method currently on BS806, but you could easily switch over to BS8558 or any of those that are listed here. If we go back onto the project and we place on a fixture node, we can click onto that and we can actually alter how many loading units are associated with that particular node. So let's say we go for 20 loading units. We've got a minimum and maximum pressure at that point. So if we hit results, h2x is going to calculate the required pipe size to meet the demand of that loading node. So based on those 20 fixture units, we've got a diversified peak flow rate of 1.52 litres per second going through that cold water pipe. Now, the change in height has meant that we essentially don't have enough pressure to meet the demand of that loading node at 2 bar. So what we can do is we can go back to design and we can select a booster pump or a cold water tank with a pump in order to meet the demand. If we go for a cold water tank with a pump, we can place it down on the plan there. There are set inlet and outlet heights on this. So inlets are at 0.1 meters and the outlet is also at 0.1 meters. So if we bring that up to 1 meter on each, on the specs menu, you can choose the configuration, so we'll go for duty, and you can also set the peak flow rate storage time, which will determine the sizing of your cold water tank. Now, we can connect this up using the pipe sizing tools, pipe drawing tool that is, sorry. We can delete that interconnecting pipe and hit results. It will get rid of our warning and it will give us a required booster pump duty along with a capacity for that tank to hold 20 minutes worth of that peak flow rate storage. Now, h2x can also be used to calculate hot water distribution as well with a hot water recirculation circuit like this one. You can select hot water plant from the drop-down menu there, and once you've placed it down, you can click onto it and set the flow and return temperatures, which will determine the recirculation flow rate requirement. If we go on to our fixtures menu, you can select a variety of different fixtures based on the peak flow rate standard that you've chosen. On this branch here, you can see that we've selected a kitchen sink. We've also ran the hot water right the way around and connected back into the return outlet on the hot water plant. And you can do that by using either the main pipe or return pipe tools on the hot water flow system. Now, it's quite easy to branch this off in a different direction. By using multi-pipe, we can bring that this way, and then we can connect the hot water back into itself like that to give us a return and add a balancing valve on that return pipe. Now you can add a number of different valves in h2x, but these will essentially add additional pressure drop onto the system and will be used as part of the recirculation flow rate and the booster pump sizing calculations. To add a fixture, you can select it from the drop down menu here. So if we go for another kitchen sink, we can stamp that down using a left click and we can use our arrow buttons on our keyboard to change the direction of the taps. If we wanted to connect this up quickly, you can click on the kitchen sink, hold control, click on the hot water flow and the cold water flow and hit auto connect. h2x will automatically route that pipe work to the back of that kitchen sink. If we hit results, h2x is going to calculate the pipe sizing and also the recirculation pump duty on that hot water return. currently 0.005 litres per second at 1 bar based on us supplying 2 kitchen sinks. As you can see, we have the warning again letting us know that we need the cold water and the hot water pressure to be boosted in order to meet the minimum demands of those fixtures. On the fixtures themselves, you can actually alter the required loading units, minimum and maximum pressures on both the hot water and cold water flow systems. To connect between floors, you can employ the risers and set them on both the hot water and the cold water flow systems. And the difference in height on the reduced floor level menu here, on the floor menu, sorry, will essentially enable you to size the risers between floors. So the height above floor we draw on one level is in reference to the level that we're currently working on. So if I go and copy this design by doing a right click and drag, I can go up to the first level and hit paste, and that is now attached. If I go ahead and hit results and go back to the ground floor, you can see that my booster pump duty has been altered, and the pipe sizing on the common pipes has also gone up based on the increased diversified peak flow rate. These steps can be employed on floor plans once they've been brought into the project and scaled, allowing you to do the same tracing and calculating procedure that you might already be doing. From this, you can generate a full PDF drawing set, setting a paper size and scale, including the references that you want from the filter menu off to the side here. If we go over to that drawing, this is an example layout that you could use. Notice that we've employed our 3D feature in the top right there. If we go back to this design, you can go onto the 3D viewing mode. We can take a look at the reference height and just look at your system in this view. You can also generate a bill of materials, which will tell you every item that's been specified on that design, where you can set rates per meter or per individual item, giving you a total level and total project cost. Last but not least, you can get a full design report detailing every calculation on that design, which breaks down those calculations per pipe, per fitting, per fixture. You can also order things in the index circuit and the index node path. Feel free to take a look at the attached documents and the attached design to try it out for yourself.